Denver Broncos, Mile High View, no commercials, no bullshit. I'll try to not muffle the microphone up so much this time. And also, we're going to be doing these roadside chats. That's what's going to be going on with these videos now. I got to adjust the heater here. So, Conversation Street literally is going to be on the street. So I'm going to get into this whole draft nonsense. This is where everybody goes insane, making wrong predictions. So, I can't really discuss, I don't go into or get off on, guessing, because, what's the point? Because, what's going to happen is going to happen, and that's really what happens is really what needs to be discussed, not what could happen or might, forget it. And all these mocks will never end up being, most likely, it's going to be a crapshoot. They won't be 100% if at all. But what I do want to discuss is this nonsensical quarterback talk concerning, Drew Lock, Dwayne Haskins, all this QB talk for the Denver Broncos. One topic of discussion with this is Elway and his mindset. He's got so many years left, and I don't know if he's going to really want to be the vice president after his contract is up. Does he really want to bring in a quarterback and groom him and all this? I'm really skeptical about that. With him bringing in more veteran leadership, and veteran leadership is all fine. It's good, and if Flacco fails, it doesn't mean that having a veteran quarterback. I mean, they could have brought in Nick Foles. They obviously didn't work that out. He's a prototypical. I think he would have been much better choice than Flacco, just for the fact that he's a bit more mobile. He fits also the system. I'm gotta make a turn here. He fits the play action system, or RPO, But and that's where we go into assessing quarterbacks. In my opinion, you got to have good coaching up front, because it makes no sense to just grab quarterbacks. You listen to these idiots in sports talk radio, especially people like D-Mac, who, whatever the reason, no matter how bad the team is, just, the Cleveland Brown effect, just throw quarterbacks in a bad system, they'll wave magic wands and magic will happen. It doesn't work that way. So when I'm looking at, first of all, Drew Lock, and I've brought this up, it's on my videos, is not a top-tier quarterback at all. If he came out last year, if he was to come out next year, he'd probably be a third-rounder at best. And all anybody has to do is watch this guy fall apart against Alabama. Yes, he could play against his peer group, the smaller colleges. Okay? In my opinion, Dwayne Haskins is probably the best overall quarterback coming out. People want to debate that or whatever, but even Kyler Murray. Now, we got to talk about this too. If these quarterbacks are coming out, what system would they fit into? So Kyler Murray would fit into a play-action system, and my gut feeling on him is he'll come out strong, but after the NFL gets his book, it may not be, as good as they thought. But who knows? He could have the chip on the shoulder and become the next Doug Flutie, the smaller, good quarterback. Flutie 2.0, I guess, you want to say. Now, Dwayne Haskins is more your prototypical pocket quarterback. Some people have the Giants picking Lock over him, and that makes no sense. for the fact that Haskins would fit that pocket quarterback system. So if they were going to go that route, then there's nothing saying they would. And then let's say Haskins, comes, it falls in the Broncos' lap. And again, does John Elway really want to invest in a quarterback, or is he just mindset on winning as soon as possible, putting pieces around a veteran quarterback? My gut feeling says he's not as interested in bringing in another quarterback for the future, which he may not even be around for. So Dwayne Haskins, I can't imagine if the Giants are going to pick a quarterback, and there's no guarantee that that's what they're going to do either, that they would go with Locke over Haskins. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And then, again, like I said, if the Broncos get Haskins, they're getting a pocket quarterback. Why on earth, Haskins probably could adapt, but then you get back into that whole idea of making quarterbacks do what they're not comfortable with. Why would you do that? And again, that's what happens to so many quarterbacks. You can sit there and obsess over quarterbacks, but there's a lot of moving parts involved with quarterbacks beyond just the quarterback himself. So it's just, I don't know, it's just a moot point, to get into these quarterback obsessions. So, again, this is a strong defensive draft. Why not go with, what worked last time? If they actually did, they did by not going for the quarterback. So, and if they did, you would have had probably Josh. Well, you had the problem with drafting a quarterback is that the coaching staff left. So the coaching staff that would have picked them would have been gone. And so you either have Rosen or Josh Allen. Does Josh Allen fit Musgrave's system? Probably not. It'd probably been Rosen. And we would be doing the Arizona Cardinal number. If they're running play action, why would you have Rosen, who's a prototypical pocket quarterback? So, the morning talk, or the sports talk radio like the D-Max, they don't put those facts together when they just talk about quarterbacks with magic wands sprinkling fairy dust all over the place. It's ridiculous. So, what I think I would take Dwayne Haskins as a quarterback, but we don't have, you got Lolita transvestite, play action system. So the best quarterback doesn't even fit your system. My best quarterback, for me, I'd take him over Kyler Murray. But I'd have to take Kyler Murray if I was going to grab a quarterback and he's available because he fits the system. Maybe he turns out. Maybe not. Maybe the book is, on him is read after a few years and he's not the quarterback the sensation that maybe he started out to be. I have real strong reservations about that guy. But, being the shorter guy, he could have a chip on his shoulder. That may give him the edge. So anyway, that's the whole quarterback spiel, is that you got to get a guy that does play action. Locke would be if they get Locke, it would, if the Broncos pick Locke, it shows that they have not learned anything. They've learned nothing. But I just don't see Elway really interested in bringing any quarterback in. I think he wants to try to win before his contract is over with, and let some other schmucko, worry about, grooming a quarterback. I think that's what Elway's mindset is, whether you like it or not. I think that's what you're going to get stuck with. I think he thinks he can get about 4 years out of Flacco. So why grab and quite frankly, I don't know why you'd grab a quarterback when you have such a high need for, or you have a great defensive draft. You could maybe get yourself the top shelf linebacker, or maybe a guy in the middle that can push again to help Derek Wolfe out. Because those guys are not going to be around in the second round, that's for sure. And they got a chance to get those, but you won't hear the quarterback obsessors discuss that. That's like some stupid plan. So, personally, I don't think they should get a quarterback until they figure out the system they're running. They got an idea, but they haven't even ran it yet. So, you got to figure out who really best fits that system. So just, this whole idea that quarterbacks have magic wands and fairy dust, I was right, too, when I discussed what was going to happen to Rosen. And he's being shipped off. I was right about that. But it makes sense, because if he doesn't fit the system, why would you have him? You could, ship him to somewhere else where he does fit a system. It's a big part, of the decision making of who you bring in to quarterback. So, anyway, it's just going to be interesting if the Broncos ignore all the chatter and continue to rebuild the defense, which is a notch up over their offense. And, I guess they can work on, offensive players with, I don't know what they're going to do offensively. That's another thing, too. It's just, they could use a tight end. I don't know. They just signed Jeff Hireman, so who knows about that, if that's an interest of theirs. In my opinion, they need offensive line help. They got over the guy they picked up. He's serviceable, but, will the left tackle, how is Joe Flacco going to handle our left tackle breaking down when he breaks down? He has improved. He has done that, but he also, has not improved. So he's kind of in and out. So, if your offensive line can't function, it's just going to be interesting to see the play calling. Are they going to get rid of the ball quicker? Musgrave, it seems like, again, was one of those deals where, he just wanted to, they brought, and again, this just shows that the backwardsness of the Broncos is, they'll say, well, Case Keenum wasn't the answer. Well, they never even used him properly. He came to a crappy team. They tried to make him a pocket quarterback, which he never was. Why would you do that? That's, again, are you going to bring in like Haskins, who's a pocket quarterback, and tell him to start running play action? Why would you do that? Why would you, we see this fail all the time, where coaches want to reinvent the quarterback. It's just, it's frustrating. But I know quarterbacks have magic wands, and, leprechauns are going to fall from the sky, and touchdowns and all that, but it doesn't work that way. So, I don't know. There's my 2 cents.